Okay. Anyway, hi everybody. This is Ira Winkler, and I'm here regarding trying to give you some information about what to expect regarding CruiseCon coming up. For many of you, well, you wouldn't know this, but initially we were planning for a basic event. We had no idea what the level of success was going to be and things like that. So we booked the minimum that we thought, which was essentially half a conference room on a major cruise ship. And frankly, we got so much response that we went back, and luckily the rest of the conference facility was available to us. So we then doubled the size of the event. And that meant more planning, that meant more logistics. And if some of you saw my previous post on LinkedIn regarding brown M&Ms and things seeping their way into there and stopping our event from being perfect, I started realizing there were a few brown M&Ms, and I realized we needed to get some help. So what happened was I started doing research, and frankly, I always loved cruising anyway. So I was a fan of the Royal Caribbean blog, and I started doing some research, and I found Fox. Fox is essentially a travel agent who is one of the experts on Royal Caribbean blog and answers questions to that effect and makes really, really good recommendations. So I reached out to him, and essentially, in Royal Caribbean speak, Fox is going to be the genie for CruiseCon, for lack of a better term. The genie is the what they call the private butlers for the star suites. We're going to go ahead and frankly, we want to ensure an A-list experience, and Fox is going to be one of those secret ingredients that we're bringing in. So to that extent, I'd like everybody to meet Fox. And Fox, could you introduce yourself a little bit more than what I did for some probably more relevant information than me going on about M&Ms and other candies?
Yeah, absolutely, Ira. My name is Fox Forlenza, and I am affiliated with MEI Travel, which we're huge partners with Royal Caribbean Blog. We do a lot of work with Matt and his followers, actually. We are the only travel agency that Matt does recommend to his followers. And so there's a very high bar that we have to meet in order to continue that relationship, which is how Ira ended up finding MEI Travel as well. And I've been in the travel industry for a few years now. I've built up almost 80% of my business is Royal Caribbean. And I've been invited by Royal Caribbean executives to meetings. I know many of them at the highest levels, which gives me a nice edge in to make sure that we're making this event, CruiseCon, as amazing as it can be. I've got every resource and every tool at my disposal that Royal Caribbean could possibly hand out. And we're just looking forward to working not only with CruiseCon, but also working with all of you to make sure that not only is your experience perfect and enjoyable, but that you have a resource to come to when you have questions, when you have concerns, or if anything does happen to go wrong, which we're hoping it doesn't. But having a Royal Caribbean expert on your side, like myself, is going to become beneficial for all of you.
Okay, well, thanks for that. And anyway, just since you've been there, we're using Voyager of the Seas, and frankly, obviously, you know, I'm biased because I've been on actually an event that was on a one of the other Voyager class vessels. But can you describe the Voyager? Because a lot of people, there's the Star of the Seas, the Icon, all the big ones, and a lot of people don't appreciate really that this is still an awesome level ship. So can you describe that a little bit just so people know what to expect?
Yeah, so Voyager actually, she's the first in her class, which you have the Voyager class. So Royal Caribbean, whenever they come out with a new class, names their ships the very first ship in the class gets the name of the class. So she's a bit older, but she's still a lot of fun. She's got some sisters that have been amazing. You may have been on Explorer of the Seas, uh, but she's on the smaller side, which makes her more intimate. So while Royal Caribbean does have huge ships out there, mainly the Oasis and Icon classes that you mentioned, Ira, the smaller ships give a more intimate feel. People really enjoy it. It's almost like that classic cruise experience. And the number of activities that are available on board are amazing. I mean, some fun things that you can do on board are things like laser tag. They have original productions as well as some more traditional productions, the venues that are on board. You have bars, shopping. You have the Flow Rider, which is that surf simulator as well. There's something for everyone and people of all ages. So even though she is on the older side, Royal Caribbean maintains their ships so incredibly well that she's going to feel like a brand new ship every single day. The crew is amazing. They take excellent care of her. So I believe there's a lot of fun activities on board that everybody at CruiseCon is going to enjoy. And I believe that more intimate feel is going to kind of give us that feel and that vibe that we're all looking for.
Yeah, because one thing I was concerned with, we don't, I mean, frankly, I don't know about you, but having a lot, while there's incredible family activities, there's not going to be a lot of kids running around, which might interfere with like the professional vibe we're trying to get, a combination of CruiseCon, which is the cruise, but obviously the professional experience. And then also, just to reiterate, Fox didn't mention this, but I think Voyager was what they call amped up in 2022, where they
Was.
essentially just pretty much renovated the hell out of the thing. And it has all of the major new facilities any Royal Caribbean ship would usually have, as well as, again, like the more intimate feel. And even though we're describing it as a little ship, the way it's still like 5,000 people, if I'm not mistaken. It's not a tiny ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At double occupancy, she holds about 3,600
Mm.
with 4,000 passengers maximum, and she's at her total. Um, so no, by no means are any cruise ships out there today small. So when you walk up and see her, especially if this is your first cruise, she's a perfect introductory cruise to those who haven't cruised before
Mhm.
because she's the perfect size for those first time cruisers. And like you did say, Ira, because of the time of year that we are sailing for this one, which is going to be February, and because of the class of ship, yeah, it's going to have a more adult atmosphere on board, which is going to be much more conducive to what we're trying to pull off.
Yeah. So anyway, let's move on because for people are going to meet Fox either way. Fox is going to be moving forward, the person who's going to be handling the registrations that after you register online, Fox is going to be reaching out to you to get information because, there is some information that would normally be considered PII. And being in cybersecurity, we don't want the aggravation of putting the information online, so we're going to call up and collect that individually. And Fox is also going to, at the same time, see if there's any individual preferences or questions that you have. But Fox, what can people expect after they register and it's then in your hands?
Well, what you can expect is when we get on the call, and I can give you a preview of some of the questions that I answer so you're prepared. I will need your full legal names. And when we're talking about legal names, we're not talking about your name is Robert and you go by Bob. Unfortunately, we do need legal names. This is going to be because it needs to match your travel documents. I'll also be asking you more about what travel documents you will be traveling with. My recommendation is a passport. Uh, I'll be asking dates of birth and then any passengers that are going to be traveling with you, any guests that you are bringing, I'll need their information as well. Some of the other questions I do ask are going to be things like, do you prefer the beds together or apart? Because these beds can normally be put into two twins or pushed together into what's called the Royal Queen. I'll also be asking, um, if there's anything important I need to know, whether it's dining, and this is going to be super important because we are a large group. I will be taking down information about any allergies that you have, any food preferences that you have. And please feel free to share any medical conditions that the ship needs to be aware of. I don't necessarily need to know your full medical history, but anything that may be pertinent to the ship. If you're going to be traveling and need the use of a CPAP device, you need to travel with any medical oxygen, or you need a fridge for, say, insulin. If you have a medical need for an actual fridge, please let me know. All of the cabins on board Royal Caribbean ships in your standard categories only include a chiller, and they're not cold enough to maintain the temperatures that you need for any type of medications that do need to be chilled. So please let me know. I'll be asking questions like this. I'm not attempting to be invasive. I'm just trying to make sure that the ship and us at CruiseCon are prepared to welcome you on board and make sure everything is streamlined and smooth. At that time, I'll also be asking you what your cabin preferences are. My biggest question is, where on the ship should I stay? Well, a lot of that's going to depend on how prone you are to motion sickness, for example. I can make recommendations based off of any of those concerns that you have. While these ships are huge and massive, sometimes a small shift into where we put your cabin can make all the difference. So we'll be having that conversation as well to make sure that we can put you in the room that is going to best fit your needs.
Awesome, because I'll be upfront with you. This is one of the reasons why I'm so happy I brought in Fox, because I would have never thought to ask those questions. That was not something on our default list before we brought him in, regarding medical conditions and things like that, to make sure the ship can accommodate you and do that proactively, not once you get on and God, you need a bigger refrigerator or something like that.
Yeah.
So I guess to that extent, so and then just to follow up, once we have that information, Fox is going to be putting that in the system now that we're having Fox work directly with Royal Caribbean instead of us doing it. And that means that once that's in, you should be able to download the Royal Caribbean app. And at that point, you can start to log in, look at potential drink packages, look at shore excursions to that effect and things. And, just to make things simple, regarding drink packages, we're going to be providing you with additional videos and information as time goes on to see what the recommendations are regarding shore excursions. Fox can, if there's something you see and you really want to do, probably go ahead and grab that. On the other hand, CruiseCon, working with Fox, he's going to put together some custom, at least it's our intent so far, because we just did bring Fox on board. We're going to try to get some group excursions going. That's going to be separate from the excursions that the boat sells, which again, hopefully should be a little bit cheaper, a little bit more tailored. Can't guarantee that yet, but again, take a look at what's there. Chat with Fox to see if that's a good deal or not, if there's something better, because Fox has been on these things before. So, anyway, with that in mind, how should people, just 'cause, again, we'll be providing people more information soon, but is there anything else they need to do to prepare for CruiseCon, now that once we get the registration in and, well, once we get the registration in, any other recommendations you have for them immediately?
Well, immediately, I would say make sure that you've requested the time off of work. And then also, when it comes to booking those excursions, if you do see something in that cruise planner that sticks out to you, go ahead and book it. If because that stuck out to you, it might be something that you really want to do, and it may or may not be something that we have planned. If it is something we had planned, or what we do end up revealing to everybody the big plans that we have, you're easily able to cancel those reservations and get a full refund. I also recommend always, when it comes to drink packages, whether it's the deluxe beverage package, which includes everything, all the way down to just the soda package, I recommend going ahead and booking those when the cost is a price that you feel comfortable with. Sitting around constantly waiting and checking to wait for that sale, you could actually just watch the price go up, up, up. So grab it while you can, while that price is agreeable to you. If the price does drop after you purchase it, you can always cancel it and rebook it for the lower rate. The other things that I would say to make sure that you're keeping in mind as you come up is, making sure those travel documents, if you didn't get your passport, if you don't have the proper travel documents, immediately get to work on those. Passport processing times are mere weeks now compared to right after COVID when we were talking months and months, 6 to 8 months to get a passport versus now 2 to 6 weeks. So go ahead and get those ready. And then another big one is when it comes to working with me, if you have a concern, my biggest rule is call me. My job is to worry. Your job's not to worry. That's why I'm here. So please put your worries in my hands. I'll take care of them. I'll do the worrying for you. And a lot of times it's not something as big as you might think it is. And sometimes we can solve it in just a mere minutes or just by having a conversation. So just communicate with me. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, and just for everybody to make life easy, we got Fox a nice email address, fox@cruisecon.com. I'm Ira at cruisecon.com now too. But anyway, please keep that in mind to just reach out. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I'm sure Fox would agree that we strongly recommend that even if you're on the East Coast, we're leaving from Port Canaveral, which is about 45 miles outside Orlando. And just to make sure there's no last minute weather issues, that there's no snow, no airplane mechanical issue problems or whatever, we recommend people arrive the day before at least. And we are going to be, well, Fox is going to be arranging room blocks for us in the Orlando area. There's not a lot of hotels in the Port Canaveral specific area. And ideally, what we're going to do is we're also going to try to arrange like buses or other forms of transportation from the hotels where we have room blocks to take people directly to the cruise and get a nice quick group boarding, hopefully, and things like that. Um, I think we covered the basic stuff I was hoping for. Is there anything else, Fox, you think we need to mention now? Or,
Well, I do want to stress just a little bit more the arriving a day before. Just even if you live in the Florida area, unless you live in the Orlando area, I do recommend still coming down. I have had clients that have had flat tires that have caused them to miss their cruises. Taking the Bright Line is usually pretty reliable, but those trains can get stuck for hours. So just make sure that you're arriving on time. The reason why we're doing the room block is to make sure that we can give everybody that option of arriving early so that we all feel a little bit more secure in making it to the ship on time. When it comes to transportation, we'll do transportation for everybody who's staying in the room blocks uh, to get you from the hotel to the cruise port. We are still working out the details for getting you back from the cruise port to the airport. That actually brings up another good point is when I do reach out to you, I will also be asking you what your transportation needs are. So whether you'll be coming in via air, how many people you'll need a hotel room for, how far in advance you're planning on getting a hotel. Well, we're only planning to do a block for one night. If you do need an extended stay, you're going to get here a few days early, maybe want to take in and enjoy some of the other attractions that Orlando has to offer. Please let me know at that time. That way we can make sure we're securing the proper hotel length for you.
mhm. Yeah. So anyway, I just want to close it out and reiterate, we brought Fox on to make life easy for the attendees. This is a really unique event and it calls for unique measures to be taken. And if you have any, I mean, frankly, I didn't choose Fox just haphazardly. Fox really knows what he's doing. So if you have any questions, concerns about CruiseCon or any other conference or, well, not well, if any other travel needs, I'll just say it that way. Reach out directly to Fox for that. I wouldn't, like with good cybersecurity services, I encourage my friends to use who I use as an example. But anyway, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank Fox for making the time to sit here with me. As many people know, I don't prepare, and Fox did a good job playing along with that, even though he's a very organized person and I am not. So, anyway, like I said, this is Ira Winkler. Thanks again for being here. Thank you, Fox. And again, you can reach Fox at cruisecon.com. And we look forward to seeing you on the ship. Thanks, everybody. So